I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to the Insider Insight Show. I am honored to have back with me someone who is a very dear friend and someone who is an incredible Iron Man. We will get into that very quickly in this conversation of Pat Wood, the Iron Man, and all that he's been through over the past year. For those of you not familiar with Pat, he is a nemesis to the deep state, has been for many, many decades. In fact, him and his partner, Anthony C. Sutton, who wrote the books, co-authored the books, Trilaterals Over Washington, were probably two of the first people to be called by the syndicate conspiracy theorists.
Yes.
In fact, if you probably look in the deep state's manual, they will have a picture of Anthony C. Sutton and Pat Wood, and they will have by them the definition of a conspiracy theorist. And when the deep state labels somebody a conspiracy theorist, folks, it signifies that the deep state is in fear of them because they expose the truth.
Yeah.
Pat is an author, a lecturer who studied elite globalization policies since the late 1970s. As I mentioned, when he partnered with the late Anthony C. Sutton to co-author Trilaterals Over Washington. He remains a leading expert on the elite Trilateral Commission, their policies, achievements, and creating their self-proclaimed new international economic order. An economist by education, a financial analyst, and writer by profession, and an American constitutionalist by choice, Pat Wood has deep historical insights into the modern attacks on sovereignty, property rights, and personal freedoms. Such attacks are epitomized by the implementation of UN policies such as Agenda 21, its supplement Agenda 2030, sustainable development, smart growth, and in education, the widespread adoption of Common Core. As I mentioned, Pat is a phenomenal author. His book, many of his books are absolute, not just bestsellers, but they are the foundation to the freedom movement. Such as Technocracy Rising, the Trojan horse of global transformation. He has also formed a number of organizations, founded, and also has websites that are fantastic. Technocracyrising.com, technocracy.news. It's one of the first sites I go to every morning. And citizensforfreespeech.org. It's my honor to welcome back the great Pat Wood. Pat, welcome back.
Thanks, Dad. Dave, really good to be with you. I say that in a different way now. It's good to be with you.
So I alluded to you being an Iron Man, Pat. You have been through a tremendous amount medically this past year.
Yeah.
You look fantastic. You know, Pat, I took care of people on the front line of healthcare delivery for 32 years.
Yeah.
Many people of which were quite ill when I first met them. And the common denominator to all those people, no matter what walk of life, what religion, what faith, what background, what profession, what race, what gender, when they come through something medically that is severe, and you came through a couple severe situations this year, they have a different outlook on life, a different, quote, lease on life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Pat, give us your 2023 version of your lease on life.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's the truth. I had a heart attack in the early April of this year. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a hard heart attack where you grip your chest, you got pain and that sort of thing. It was kind of a soft episode, but they discovered that I needed to have my heart rebuilt. So I had a triple bypass surgery, and of course split up open the chest, and there you go, laying on the table, like a turkey, when his chest open. But I got through that, and with no heart damage. It was amazing. Yeah. None. And they said at the time, they said, we don't really know why you don't have any heart damage, but you don't have anything. And so I skated through that, and my recovery went really well. I have to say, I've had it full of energy, and I felt great. I was doing therapy and stuff, physical therapy, and that really helped too. But then in August, just a few months later, I suffered a stroke. They say it was a really major stroke. And that just came out of the blue. It just, hit us like a ton of bricks, really. More my wife probably than me, but it was really scary for a while. They didn't know if I'd even get back to, being above a vegetable. So, but God was gracious to me, I'll tell you, merciful. And my recovery has been amazing since then. Again, my speech has been restored mostly. My physical side, my right side especially, I've got all strength back in my arm, all this part of my body, leg. The only thing remaining now is just my ankle. What can I can do this with my ankle, but I can't do this, the wiggle it.
Interesting.
Yeah, just so I'm okay with that. Yeah. I can walk just fine. I can drive a car, and most importantly, I've got all my marbles.
Yes, you do.
So that's the main thing for me. And you're right. Your attitude changes. My mission didn't change. I'm still the same guy that I was before. I have the same passions that I had before. But through this, I want to say that I've refined my priorities to do the things that I really think are important versus some things I was, you do some things, and you think, well, what's the point of that? I'm getting rid of those so I can focus on the core issues that we're dealing with today, if that makes any sense.
Well, let's focus on the core issues that after you've come through this incredibly tough tunnel, let's talk about the core issues as you see them.
Yes. Well, I said I would never write another book.
That's what you said.
Oh yeah, okay. I know, but I have another book and stored right now. I'm working on it right now to kind of get it scoped out, get the research for it under my belt. But the main thing that I've come away with on this has to do with technocracy and transhumanism, but it has to do with the collapse of reality. This is something I never really considered. We talked about mass formation.
Yes.
Well, that was kind of maybe a precursor of what I was thinking about now with the collapse of reality altogether. This is a scary topic, but as I was kind of mulling through things, you have lots of time to think when you have a stroke. Believe me, you do, and you can't talk to anybody much, but you think about stuff. And I thought about the importance of being grounded in some part of reality. Maybe you're off on some things, but you have some touch with your humanity. What technocracy and transhumanism is driving us to is this collapse of reality altogether for people. Now, maybe you and I will not be deceived. I hope so. Or not, but some people will not be deceived. But the majority of the world is going to fall into this pit.
Yes.
Where they cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is not real. And that's where things are really going to be dicey.
Well, and we saw that with Zuckerberg, right? With Metaverse, right?
Sort of. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a symptom, at least. I like to go back and remind people of the movie The Matrix. The first movie, especially, where the concept was floated. He didn't say it. I mean, it wasn't evident to people people who saw it at that point. But the concept of a simulacrum was floated in the Matrix movie. What a simulacrum is, or simulacrum, dependent on how you want to say it, tomato. What is this about? Is when the people were walking out on the street, living their life, supposedly, behind the scene, their bodies were encased in these cells where they were used. They were actually being mined for energy, but they were living in a simulation.
Yes.
There was no reality to it, none. They had no awareness that their body was stuck in some, horrible thing, being mined for energy. And this simulation turned into a simulacrum because it morphed into a reality that wasn't there, where nothing was backing it up, nothing backing it up whatsoever. It's like looking at a mirage in the desert. You see it from a distance. Ooh, there's palm trees. There's, whatever. There's water, flowing out of a stream. But the closer you get to it, you can see there's nothing there. There's nothing. There's no reality to do that whatsoever. This is the concept of a simulacrum. This is, I think, is going to emerge as the major meme in the future here, where people get to this point where they're free floating, no concept of what's going on around them, and whatever they used to see, this may look familiar, but there's no reality to it anymore.
Many people, Pat, right now, when they look at what's happening around the world, and they look at Washington, and they look at Biden mumbling around, they believe we're already in this this divorce from reality.
That's a precursor, I think. But when the simulacrum hits, it will not be perceived as not being real. And it's true that the people shake their head at everything that's going on. Any thinking person is going to shake his head, wondering what can I trust, what I can trust. But what's happening is at the core of this, of today, is what's going on with AI, artificial intelligence. This is what is going to explode reality for everybody who's not at least aware of what's the process. But AI is going to create conditions where people will not be able to determine what's real and what's not. Just even one example there. This whole concept of deep fakes.
Yeah. Right.
Where, Dave, I could take your face right now, model it with AI software, and make you say anything that I want you to say. Your lips are going to move. People will look at you and say, "That's Dave. That's Janda. Now I know it is." But you're going to see words come out of your mouth that, crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is going to be everywhere on the internet eventually, very, very soon. You have people, for instance, this is the seedy side of this whole thing, where celebrities, maybe the pretty ones, maybe not, I don't know, but that's not the issue, where they can be turned into porn stars with AI, where they look exactly like this person. They say the same, their voice is modeled after that person, yet they're behaving as a porn star and doing despicable things for sure on screen. Nobody can tell the difference. And there's already an industry on this already forming around this concept. Now, let me just take the deep fake concept into the news media now. It's predicted, reliably so, that within 3 or 4 years, all news, let's say 80% of news is going to be generated by AI, period. The stories you read are not going to be by humans, but rather by AI. So you're not going to know whether some sterile, mechanistic AI wrote a story that you're really get into here, maybe a fiction, maybe it's real, maybe it's just news about the Mideast or whatever. You're not going to know if a human wrote it. Now, here's the problem. All AI today is trained with everything that's on the internet. They suck it all into the AI programs, and they train their programs to be predictive with what the next word is going to say, whatever, that sort of stuff. And it almost can fool you into thinking there's intelligence there. There's not. But right now, all of the training that AI gets is mostly by humans having generated it. 3 or 4 years now, all news is going to be created by AI. What will the new iterations feed on for training? When they come to be trained, where are they going to get their stories from? From other AI programs. Now, this is going to set up a feedback loop where it's all just going to implode, where AI is training on AI and forever. Where does this go? Well, this is where we're going to see this concept of a simulacrum forming. Nobody will know what's real and what's not. They will not know where it came from, and they'll lose confidence on everything they see. You probably were of the age anyway that you remember the book called Future Shock.
Oh, sure.
By Heidi and Alvin Toffler, I think. Okay. That book predicted a time where technology would get to the point where people could not understand it. They would divorce themselves for the process that went into it, and eventually they would see it as magic, literally magic. We're almost to this point now where you look at this stuff, you won't have a clue where it's coming from, yet people will look at it and say, it's magic. It's got to be magic. It's like, this is the bigger problem that we're going to face in the next 3 or 4 years. And when I say 3 or 4 years, I mean that's 3 years may be the end of this, where sections of the world fall out of reality and into a simulacrum.
So which sections of the world are most vulnerable to that, Pat?
Certainly the nations like ours, Europe, probably parts of Asia too. Africans, probably not so much. Maybe South Americans, not so much. But certainly the industrial world they'll be prime for this.
And the people leading this charge are the technocrats, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Whether they're doing it on purpose or not, that you could look at that from different angles. But nevertheless, the attitude they have has always been the mechanistic attitude that they can discover what's going to go on and whatever they want to do, and they do it without any moral or ethical boundaries. They just do it because they can. That's how we've gotten right now with all the advanced AI right now, right? They do it. Why did you do that? Well, because we could. There's no reason. They can't give you a reason why they did it for. They just want to screw everything up. So, this is where we are with these technocrats right now. These people are they've set a course for themselves to literally to destroy the world. What it means to be human.
Right.
And believe me, if you are removed from reality, you cease to be human at some point.
That's right. So, Pat, is that a fait accompli, or is there something collectively all of us can do to prevent getting to that situation?
I don't know what the answer to this is, Dave. I really don't. I could see where somebody, I don't know who, could literally pull the plug on the machine.
Right. Yeah, I mean, is that seems to be, Pat, the only way around this, to pull the plug out of the wall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. It would save an awful lot of energy right now in the world. Down here in Mesa, where I live, Arizona, Google has decided to build a server farm here. It's going to start out at 300,000 square feet of server farm. It's going to probably suck all the energy out of our grid, so our rates are going to go up sky high. But you look at these companies that are hosting this AI stuff. You just can't conceive how much hardware and software and energy is sucked into this thing to make it work. And this is just one unit that Google's putting in there. The Facebook's got a huge thing down here in Arizona as well, right down the street. 150,000 plus server farm for them, for Facebook. It's just the resources they're putting into this is just off the chart.
So the question is, Pat, who has the ability to pull the plug out of the wall?
Here's what I see happening. There's a odd relationship between big tech and government.
Right.
We know that.
Yeah.
We've seen it with censorship issues.
Absolutely.
Who is in control? Is it the politicians or is big tech?
Big tech. That's my answer.
I would suggest that big tech is the senior partner
Yeah.
of anything that the government ever gets
Absolutely.
its hands on.
Absolutely.
So the government, at some point, the politicians in the government, they're going to wise up to this, that they're being used and misused. They've been lied to, and they're going to figure out that big tech is their enemy. It's that point that then the battle will be engaged between our politicians and big tech. Period. We see this with big pharma as well.
Right.
Don't forget them.
Right. Oh no.
Oh boy. So at some point, the politicians that we elected are going to get wise to these people. Don't like them. They want to get them out of office altogether. In the end, they will be the useful, what we used to call the useful idiots.
Yeah.
And they will be the first people that get thrown under the bus, like happened in, for instance, Soviet Russia, 1918. This is serious business. Our politicians that we elected are totally clueless right now.
Yeah.
They think
co-op.
that they have some influence in this whole thing, but they don't.
No, it's delusional.
It really is. They have their own issue with the simulacrum right now. It's just there's no reality behind what they're doing. But having said that, when the battle gets engaged, if it ever is, with these technocrats and the politicians, then it's going to be game on. To possibly, maybe not happen, maybe it will never happen, but it's possible, I think, still, the politicians might get wise soon enough to pull the plug on this whole thing and says, guys, we're not going this route anymore.
In the interim, what do you suggest our listeners do in preparation for the next couple 3 years then, Pat? Is there anything that will make a difference for them?
Yes. I'll give you two sides of that. For one, you need to stay away from AI, period. You just don't do it. If you see a story that you suspect might be written by AI, throw it in the trash. Don't look at it. Don't even think about looking at it. If you see, for instance, New York Times, you see that they're starting to write using AI to do stories, cancel your subscription. Just forget it. You know they're going to feed you rat poison.
Right.
So looking at to sites like yours and mine and other people who have tried to think this through with a clear head, see if you can mine good information from these sources. They're not perfect.
Right.
I'm not perfect for sure. I know you would not say that you are either.
Correct.
But there's a larger concentration of truth that we put out that anybody else is going to put out. You need to stay connected with people. Key, you must be connected with actual people. You're a person. All your subscribers can look at you. I know that guy. Yeah, I see him on TV. He speaks to me, does these things, interviews, whatever. Same thing with me. We don't need to necessarily shake everybody's hand.
No.
But people know that we're real people.
Right.
Okay? And it's also important to get connected with people in your real people in your neighborhood.
Right.
With your family. You see somebody slipping off in the ether, bring him back.
It's key.
That. Come back. So that's one thing that we can do to make sure we go to reliable sources as we can, where real people are working it, and get in touch with them. Now, there's another side of this as far as Christians are concerned, especially. I am one, that make no secret of that, but it's important for Christians, especially, to anchor themselves with what they know to be true about the Bible and what they know about God in the first place. Mm-hmm. The reality that they would perceive, the ultimate reality, is found there, not here. Mm-hmm. So when the Bible talks about the anchor of your soul, mm-hmm. That's a phrase that's actually used there. Mm-hmm. That's what that's talking about. It's like a sea anchor, mm-hmm. where a big storm comes along, a ship puts out this thing is called a sea anchor, but it makes the ship not be tossed over, or tossed with the waves or whatever, and it gives it stability. That's what an anchor of your soul is all about. Christians should get back to the basics.
Right.
Forget all this other emergent stuff, post-modern, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
Just go back to the basics of your faith and get reconnected again with it. That will see you through a lot of storms in the future if you keep that anchor to your soul steadfast. So, on both sides of this, it's important for everybody to be connected with people, not with AI.
Right.
Period.
Well, and we know one of the foundations of their whole lockdown policy, right, was to keep people from communicating with even their neighbors or their family members or their loved ones. Sit in a room, consume their propaganda off the boob tube or wherever, and don't associate. You can't associate with others. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Exactly right.
And it was kind of their little beta test almost, right?
Yes. And that's right. And it's getting ramped up even now.
Yeah. So, Pat, let's conclude our time together today. Here we are at the end of 2023. Pat, one of your many gifts, you've always, our listeners have always told me this. Pat Wood, when you have him on toward the end of the year sometimes, and you ask him about what he sees coming in the coming year, the new year and down the line in that year. And when he says things, I go, I don't know about that. Well, invariably, things he speaks about become reality, right? So, Pat, when you looked down the road here at the end of 23, going into 24, and you and I are having this conversation again in a year, what are we going to say happened during the year that you think is going to occur coming up?
Wow. It's getting more difficult to predict what's going to happen, because trends don't play out the way they used to.
No.
Now the life is full of surprises, some of which we will never see coming until they happen.
Right.
But I can say this for sure. The mean-spirited technocrats are going to get tough with everybody. They've been benevolent at this point. You know, our technology is going to help the sick people. It's going to help, people who have cancer or whatever. You know, they're going to cook up reasons. Well, they're going to run out of reasons, actually. But when it really becomes clear what their goals are, which I've seen under the cover here for at least 20 years. Their agenda is going to be exposed this next year, I do believe, where people will see the teeth, the iron teeth that these people have.
Yeah, they're vicious.
And it's going to get tough at this point. You can look at people like Elon Musk. You can look at people like Sam Altman, who does OpenAI. You can look at other people, Peter Thiel, others like that. These people are going to get tough with everybody else in the room, except themselves, of course.
Right.
And you're also going to see more cooperation with China. Big time. China, for all the bluster in it, that they have, they want to bust our airplanes. They want to, hassle our ships over there or whatever. Forget that. The technocrats in America are in love with the technocrats in China, and that is not going to go away either. We see signs of this all over the place. While we are made to think, oh, China is their big enemy, they're bad, they're going to kind of come over here in Congress or something, I don't know, get all our farmland away from us. Well, that's just theater.
Right.
What's going on in the background here, China is morphed into a technocracy, and these technocrats over here love it.
Right.
They love it. And so you're going to see stuff that will make your head shake when you see these people go over there and schmooze and wine and dine, whoever, Chairman Z or whoever. And they're speaking out of both sides of the mouth at the same time.
Right.
We see that. I see this all the time. So I would say we're going to see China stepped up to the plate with the technocrats here. I believe we're going to probably see the big tech, especially, and big pharma too. That's tech also. It's all the same thing. We'll see them baring their teeth with people. And that's when it's going to really get dicey. Battle on. Yeah.
And the last thing people should do when that happens is confine themselves to their couch, right? Because that's what the technocrats want.
Yes.
They want you to lock yourself down and lock only into their information.
Yeah.
And not networking independent information like on your site, our site, other independent media sites to friends, families, neighbors, coworkers.
Yeah. This is why free speech is such a big issue.
And why it's under attack 24/7.
Totally. I remember, I think you probably interviewed Matthias Desmet, perhaps. The guy that came up with this mass formation
Psychosis,
theory.
Yeah.
I like it personally. I think it speaks to me I know there's holes in it, and people, psychiatrists get all huffy, but it's like, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't care. I understand what he's trying to say. But listen, this one thing, because he's from Belgium, right? He understands culturally
Yeah.
what it means to have gone through the Russian Revolution, the German Revolution. They had so many people got killed in Europe. When he talks about mass formation in terms of free speech, which he did, he gets real quiet and he says, when free speech is done, when free speech is silent, that's when the killing begins.
That's right.
That set my hair on fire. That is exactly the point of inflection where the killing begins. Yeah. The overt killing of people with bullets and gas and whatever. And we just can't let this happen. Free speech is the only thing holding us back from that right now, and the battle for free speech is legendary all over the world. This is not a First Amendment issue. Everybody in the world expects free speech, and they understand more than we do. We don't give me this Constitution crap. This is a fundamental human right.
That's right. It's a human rights issue.
Expected by every human on this planet.
That's right.
And when it's denied,
look out.
That's when people start dying.
Yeah.
We cannot let it happen.
Pat, educate our listeners on how they can follow you 24/7, which is must do.
Well, yes, indeed. Indeed, the first place to go is technocracy.news.
That's where it's outstanding.
Yeah. I've got a premium section on the website now. Unfortunately, Google is killing me. You can't imagine. Yeah, Google is just horrible. But I had to take my site basically private. However, all stories are posted for 3 days, where the public can access any one of them as they float by. And after that, all of the 6,500 stories that I posted in the last several years are there, indexed, they're categorized. It's a treasure trove. You just can't imagine stuff there. It's all there, folks. You want to know about technocracy, this is where you're going to get it. And I'm adding some other features to the website now, like my library feature. I've had a feature for downloads of all the files we've collected over the years, UN documents, you name it, we've got it. I'm exposing this now to the world through my subscribers, my premium members. We have to, and here's my thinking, we have to preserve this information.
Yeah, I agree.
For future generations.
I agree.
There's no other option. We must preserve this information. And maybe we won't be successful, but we have to try. The internet will not be here for us one day.
That's right.
Not as we would want it. So maybe that's 3 or 4 years out for now, but as much as we can disseminate this information out to people, where they can download articles, where they can download files and books and whatever, get it in your hands physically now,
right,
before it's all taken away where you won't be able to get it.
Technocracy.news. Pat, I'd like to thank you for everything you have done, are doing, and will do. You are truly the Iron Man of freedom. I thank you, Pat. It is so great to have you to be with us and take the time and effort to be with us. I truly appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And I thank you folks for joining us. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for joining us today.